do it. You sort of started to do it, but you didn't do it. If you missed the UCAS deadline, don't worry. You can still apply.
All right, guys. How are we doing? I'm just waiting on a few more people joining. I'm just going to message Dani to see if she's got into the link okay. Yeah, she's on her way. She's on her way. So, guys, I'm expecting a few more people. I'll be very disappointed if only 5 people show up live, considering I am paying for this. But never mind. I'm sure people see the replay. The purpose of the day, managing PMS symptoms, and more importantly, hormonal eating. I think it's a little bit different to emotional eating, right? Yeah, hormonal eating, emotional eating. Consider that your emotions are impacted by your hormones, and eating or your eating habits might be more difficult to manage when you are on your monthly cycle. Okay, so we're just waiting for Dani to come. I've got a bunch of preloaded questions to ask her, and I'm sure if you guys have got more, you can type in the box and she will cover them. So let's just wait for Dani to join. Hopefully she gets in. I think this might be Dani now.
Bye.
Hi, Dani. Can you hear me?
Hi.
Okay?
Oh, I'm here.
You're in the game?
Yes.
Is the audio okay?
I think so. Yeah, I'm just doing it from my phone because it's easier. Well, I thought it was easier.
No problem. I am expecting a few
Right,
more people.
hang on.
It's just gone half past, so we'll I'll add them as they come in. I'm sure there will be a few more, but this is streaming into my membership area as well, so you are speaking to more people. I promise you that. They just might not be live on the call. That's all.
Okay.
So before I let you take the reins, Dani, let's just say you've got a lot of great feedback from clients who I've worked with already, who I've pushed them onto you. We've already done a few previous trainings on, was more specifically gut health the last time, and just managing overall well-being and health. Whereas today we want to specifically keep it on, I call it hormonal eating, because as you know, I work with people who struggle with emotional eating, struggle with their eating habits, turn to food for comfort, that sort of thing. And the feedback I'm seeing time and time again, there's 95% women who I work with right now, which is amazing, by the way. It's I'm doing really well until I get to my monthly cycle week and it all hell breaks loose. That's the story I'm hearing time and time again. And of course, when I asked a little bit deeper, well, what do you think the triggers were? A lot of it's just energy, it's pain, it's PMS symptoms, it's just not feeling very good. It's obviously I can't speak from a point of knowing what it feels like, of course. I'm going to be rubbing that in multiple times today, but with us being a man, obviously, but I understand it can affect your kind of perception as well when you're feeling drained and hormonal, and you've got a little bit of a shorter fuse, shall we say, and it affects eating habits and therefore health and gut health, and body composition. So we'll keep it specifically on that today, and I do have a bunch of questions to kind of lead you and help and kind of guide the conversation, but just take it away. Give us your best kind of insights on this, and then I'm sure we'll chime in with questions and we'll point people in the right direction for the best advice that they can take right now to help with this. Yeah. Yeah.
All right.
Awesome. So the main question I get is basically how to manage PMS symptoms, how to feel better, how to increase your mood, how to just have more energy around that time of the month.
That's the main question, the energy?
Yeah, managing energy, managing your mood, managing your hormones, if you like, how to stay on track, on the monthly cycle week.
I think I said this on the last video that we did as well. I think every female needs to be mindful that around the time of the month, the energy will naturally dip. And so we just need to be aware of that. And rather than, I'm guilty of this for myself because I teach yoga, I teach Pilates, and then when I'm not doing that, I'm in the gym as well. So I'm constantly exercising and moving. But I do need to know, because I noticed as well, I get burnt out around the time of the month, which means I need to take a step back a little bit from exercise. Of course, I can't not turn up and teach my classes, but I maybe need to not go to the gym that day for extra exercise because my body is tired. You're using all of that energy it's your body preparing to have a baby, and that's why you start to lose energy. So it is like, if you know you're doing loads of exercise, make sure that you've just taken a few times in the month to maybe do a little bit more yoga, or take a walk, or something that's a little bit calmer, rather than, I don't know what your clients like to do, whether it's HIIT, weight training, running, whatever. But just think about that during the time of the month. Slow down a little bit. You know, we're all rushing. I know I am. I'm rushing from here, I'm rushing from there. I've got this to do and that to do. Our whole lives are full of stress. And we need to just take these moments when this is the time of the month, and not just for females as well, men as well. You know, we all do get burnt out. We need to take that time for ourselves just to rest and repair a little bit, you know, and don't stress ourselves out like, oh, I've got no energy. Be aware that you've got no energy. And then it comes in with a connection with food, because you are going to want to eat more things like carbohydrates because your energy is lower. But that's when you start to reach for the nasty carbohydrates, you know, like the stuff that's not quite so good for us, the sugars, the chocolates, and whatever it is, pizza. And we eat too much in excess amounts, which then makes you feel even worse. Your mood drops even more. And it's just this constant cycle, and it's happening every single month. So you need to start to tune into your body, be aware that every month I'm going to get tired. So slow down a little bit. I also need to pay attention to my diet, think about carbohydrate rich foods in the form of, you know, sweet potatoes, white potatoes, brown rice, and then you've got all your natural fruits, all of those carbohydrates from there as well, rather than going for your bad carbohydrates and then you're fueling your body with the good stuff. Even things like dates and raw honey and manuka honey, if you need more of the natural sugars to feed yourself with the glucose, because we do need it. We do need that extra sugar in our systems, but natural sugars, not the refined carbohydrate sugars.
Yes. Why do you think, Dani? Why do you think? I mean, I haven't got an answer to this. Maybe you've got some science up your sleeve, if you like. Why is it that ladies may crave the naughty foods come monthly cycle time? Why are they craving the chocolate? Why are they craving the junk food, the sugar, the processed food? Even though they know, we can tell them right now, that's not going to help you. That's going to make you feel worse. In the moment, they're still choosing those options. But is there any science behind that? Where does that come from?
It's because your body starts to, your around the time of the month, a woman's immune system actually drops around 80%. So that's why females are more likely to pick up colds and flus and other kind of bugs around that time of the month, because their immunity has lowered. So around that time of the month is when we need to start fueling our body with more nutrition, the right kind of nutrition, and things like magnesium is one of them. Like, anyways, people are not getting enough magnesium into their body because the soil is completely depleted in magnesium. So even if you're eating like loads of fruits and vegetables, there's no guarantee there's magnesium in that food. And you know, half the people are not eating enough fruit and vegetables anyway. They're eating processed food. So again, they're still not getting enough magnesium. And it's the magnesium the body needs, which is why they reach out for chocolate, because chocolate naturally is a rich source of antioxidants and phytochemicals and magnesium, but it's not dairy chocolate. It has to come from like the raw cacao bean, or your cacao powders or your dark chocolates, and things like dark leafy green vegetables are high in magnesium as well. But supplementing is the best way to also add that to your hormone cycle. Like, I religiously take magnesium every single night before I go to sleep, because it helps support your sleep as well. Because that's something that I get. I suffer from insomnia around the time of the month. That's just something that I deal with, because it affects women differently. So we've got to start putting in nutrition that we're lacking in, and that's why we start to crave certain things, because your body's depleted in nutrients.
Amazing. So what are some healthier alternatives? And we can get into the argument of calories in, calories out, and we know we can make junk food fit, but for health purposes, because you don't want to be feeding the body, and more specifically the gut, with junk food around that time, because it's going to make symptoms worse. What alternatives have you got to things like chocolates and sweets? Because I'm under the impression of the research I've done, it's almost like a pre-programmed trauma response from earlier in life, that kind of you would turn to junk food when you were on a monthly cycle, maybe as a teenager, and 20, 30 years later, you've just got into the habit of, the moment you feel those feelings physically, you act in a way while eating junk food. How can they disrupt that cycle, but still kind of get that craving, that fix if you like? Is there any alternatives to like chocolate and junk food? What are your best foods, if you like?
It's going to all vary for different women because obviously we've got different backgrounds and life journeys. So I don't know, like coming into the emotional side of it, we've all gone through emotional traumas and stuff like that. But when it comes into the food, it's getting our mindset in the right place for a start, which is the hardest part to get right when you're starting off on like a food journey. Is why you've got to get that mindset in a healthy, positive place. And then just know that, okay, there are alternatives. Like I'm busy writing a recipe book, which is like, it's 400 pages long because I've got that many recipes, you know, there's so many healthy foods to eat. And I have got like chocolate in it and it's like really healthy recipes, but it's just knowing what to eat. So when you're reaching out for sugar, the best thing for me when I'm like craving sugar, as I said, like I go for dates. So I've got the medjool dates. They like that they're high in magnesium as well. Also they support your hormone health, which is really good. So you're getting a win-win. So a lot of the dried fruits as well. So figs are really good. Dried mangoes really good. And what else do I have? The dark chocolate is really good. If just make sure it's 60% and over, nothing under that. And also read the label and check that there's no added sugars and things like that into it. The one brand that I do normally recommend to people is Green and Black. Yes, Green and Black. Green and Black. It's one of the healthier alternatives in like the supermarket chocolates. So that's one that they could have like when I had a client the other day and I was telling her you can eat chocolate because no woman will ever want to be told that she's not allowed to have chocolate.
Yeah, there's no point saying I'm not going to do it, I'm going to abstain, because it doesn't work. We know that. You're best off looking for alternatives or factoring it in moderation, right?
Eat in moderation, that's what I said. Like I have dark chocolate. I don't have it every single day, but the chocolate I eat is like 100% raw dark chocolate. Like it is like pure raw, but I'll only have a square of it. I'm not like going to overindulge, but I need to have that. I've got it permanently in the house and I have it there. And I know around the time of the month, I do have a little bit more because I need to feed my body with chocolate and magnesium. So that's like, you've just got to know what foods that you want to have around the time of the month. So, yeah, like, and I have more sweet potatoes. I make sweet potato fries, white potato fries I do as well. Like I've got an air fryer, so I have more carbohydrates. And just again, just log everything like in a food diary or whatever, and just check with your hormones how your cycle is. You've got to learn how to understand the body.
Yes, I think the most common mistake I do see, and I've discussed it with many clients, people who are on this call right now, in fact, is you need to start off, like you said, the mindset needs to be in the right place. So the first part of that is to accept that I am going to feel shit the week of my monthly cycle. That's number one. You've got to accept it's coming. Yeah. I think the mistake I see a lot of females unfortunately make is they try exactly the same strategy, which is just, I hope I feel all right and I'll manage it when it comes, or they'll almost suppress the feeling of having to deal with it and they'll just forget about it. And all of a sudden it'll creep up on them. Let's say if they're not organizing their personal life, maybe they've over-exercised, maybe they've been on a diet, they've been restricting a little bit, all of a sudden, bang, and they can't handle it. I'm like, you need to prepare the week in advance. You need to be exactly aware of your dates. You need to know when am I likely to come on? When am I likely to end? When am I likely to get the pre-symptoms or whatever you call it, the signs behind that. I'm not that clever. Be aware of it and almost accept it. And one thing I've been telling my guys and girls is, well, not my guys, my girls, if you like. One thing I've been telling them is give yourself permission to have more food the week of your monthly cycle.
Yeah, exactly.
Give yourself permission to exercise less. And if you can time your month right, where you think, well, the first 2 weeks of the month when I'm not on my cycle, that's when I'll go really hard on my training. I'll push it. I'll do more heavier weight training, more intense exercise. And then weeks 3 and 4, I'll start to phase it out, prioritize recovery, and get your ducks in a row, so to speak, with your personal life. Because if your personal life's all over the place, come monthly cycle, it's double whammies, right? You're not just dealing with personal stress, you're dealing with physical and emotional stress. So make it easy for yourself. Yeah. Would you say that's the first part of kind of getting a handle on this?
Yeah, you have to know your dates. I mean, obviously as a woman, sometimes it does like change sometimes, but you always know kind of when it's going to come. So you just need to be prepared for it. Like I know mine's due like real soon. I can feel it, like I know, which means I know in a few more days I'm going to start getting irritated and people are going to start winding me up. Like it's part of what happens in the month. I do get a little bit of more annoyed with people, and then I'm like, okay, it'll last for a day, just get over it. But for some women it can be like extreme anger and like to the point where they want to lash out and hit people, which isn't good. So with that, like it's all connected in with like that's going to come into your liver health and your gut health, because that all plays a part in how you're feeling as well, and your emotional side of it, because there may be some inflammation there, and it could be a detox side that you need to work with. Even like I don't know if I said this in the last video, but there's one supplement that I would recommend for people is ashwagandha, which is for hormone health. So that would help to balance things out, which also it's an adaptogenic herb, and that helps to calm and de-stress the body as well. So it is an all-rounder, and it also gives you energy too. So it's really good for working out and builds muscle, things like that. It's good for men too. Men can take it. So just knowing what to put into the body, because we are the emotions change around the time of the month. The hormones are like up and down like this all the time. So you just have to learn to ride the roller coaster.
That was going to be my next question, was the supplement side of it. So let's take a bit of a deep dive into that, because I can help more with managing their organization, their emotions, their mindset. But what I can't do is take their supplements for them. Yeah, and I think if we were able to outline right now, this is my recommendation. So your recommendations of how you should be preparing, whether that's daily supplements, regardless of whether you're on a monthly cycle, or increasing a certain supplement around that month. What's your go-to supplement stack that you think the general woman should just be taking regardless, just for health and just for managing it? What would you say is the best?
I take ashwagandha. That's one of them that I take, because as I say, it helps to manage stress as well. And most of us have extremely stressful lives, so we need to keep a hand on that. The thing with ashwagandha though, it's not one that you can take like, oh, I feel really super stressed out right now, I'm going to take it. It has to be one that you're taking consistently, so that say in 3-4 weeks time you have this huge stressful event, you will be able to manage that stressful event a little bit better, because you've been taking the ashwagandha. I'm not saying you're not going to have stress, but it will just help you feel a lot more calmer and able to handle stressful situations.
Yeah, what dosage would you recommend ashwagandha with? Daily, or do you take it
the best
a week
way
or a
to
month?
get things is take it in a powder form rather than in any pill form, and you only want a teaspoon.
There we go. Powder form, teaspoon. I'm just making notes, by the way. I'm not texting. Yeah, awesome. Awesome. What other supplements do you recommend, Dani?
The other one, as I said, magnesium.
Yes.
Magnesium citrate is really good, which will help with sleep as well. So it's the best time to take it is before you go to bed, because it will help to relax the body and prepare you for sleep. It's also detoxifying as well, so it helps detoxify your system. And it helps with the monthly cramps as well. So if you are someone who gets really bad, painful, periods, then it's going to help with cramp issues.
Yeah, I hear that a lot. That signal of pain can also be a signal to make yourself feel better, because I guess you kind of feel a little bit, I'm just going to say, a little bit sorry for yourself when you're feeling in pain. I've been feeling sorry for myself all week trying to recover from COVID. I'm not myself. It's natural to kind of feel a little bit sorry for yourself when you're down, you're drained, you're dealing with some pain. It's emotionally draining.
Yeah.
You'll look to turn to something to make you feel better. It's like the natural human response, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So the other thing, like naturally when you're feeling down, like it should be coming from things like vitamin D, because we need sunshine. So vitamin D is actually something else that it works. Vitamin D naturally is a hormone. It's not a vitamin. It's made in the liver. So you need to have vitamin D. Yeah, you need to have vitamin D in order to have healthy hormones. So the majority of the population in the whole wide world, not just in the UK, are vitamin D deficient, because obviously we don't get sun here. And most people aren't taking it either. So vitamin D needs to be a supplement that should be taken. Vitamin D it's D3 with K2. The K2 has to be with it in order to absorb the D3.
What dosage do you recommend? D3 or K2?
It should be about 1,000 IUs. It could be up to 2,000 IUs. You can usually tell the dosage when you have it. Like every time I have mine, I'm like super alert and energized. Mine's 1,000, but I've got some people on 2,000. So you know yourself. Again, it should be in a liquid form rather than I'm never like don't take pills and like don't take them.
So you recommend the liquid form with that one, yeah?
Yeah, liquid.
Yeah, I've heard something about just general like multivitamins and things like you can't even process them. Apparently, you just weed them out.
Yeah, because everyone's gut is compromised. So if you have a compromised gut, then when you're popping pills, there is no guarantee you are going to absorb that pill that you've just taken. So you are throwing your money away. So that's why any supplement you take, unless of course there is no liquid or a powder, then you have to take the pill form. If there is the option, look for liquid first, and then second option, look for powder.
I see. Any other powerful supplements that you recommend apart from ashwagandha, vitamin D, magnesium?
Zinc.
Zinc.
Yeah, zinc is one of the most depleted nutrients in the human body. It is needed for immunity, and it's needed for viruses, but it's needed for hormone health. And not many women will know that.
What kind of effects would you have if you were to take zinc?
You've got to take zinc if you have painful periods.
There we go. So ladies,
it's also anti-cancer. So it's anti-cancer, so it can block cancer cells from forming. So it's really important. Again, the best one is zinc sulfate. So it has to be in a liquid form. And that should help, like a lot of women around the time of the month have breast tenderness. So it should help with things like that and painful period things, all of that. So that is an essential. It should be taken for life.
Yeah. So you think you should take that regardless if they suffer with symptoms around their monthly cycle? Regardless,
yeah. It should be one that is, because it's for your skin health as well. It's for your nail health. It is an essential vitamin. I forgot what I was going to say there. Yeah, but that's the one you need to take as well.
One supplement I've heard you talk about before is, I'm not sure if this is for monthly cycle. Is it Shatavari?
Shatavari, right? Yeah. I've actually not got any myself at this moment because it's not one that I take regularly, but it is one that I've recommended to my clients before because, again, it's an immune health one. It is the known, I've written about it in my second book, something to do with it kills like completely everything. So if you've got anything wrong with you, you need to be taking that. Like it just kills everything. But it's for hormone health as well. So it's for females who are going like through the menopause, and that's normally who I recommend it for as well. I was taking it a lot, but then I just ran out, and I don't get painful periods. The only thing I get is like the low energy, mood drops a bit, I don't feel like myself either, and I'm not myself, but I don't get painful periods.
Amazing. So I'm just going to try and remember one area. Maybe some people haven't thought of it this way, but my brain is very analytical, and I'm always looking for different questions and potential root causes and things. So let's say if someone suffers with period pain, cramp, that sort of stuff, and let's say they take all of these supplements by the book. If they were still participating in the habits that were causing the pain in the first place, supplements wouldn't solve the problem. So there's got to be some kind of prevention. What can you say about that? Because someone can have the most unhealthiest diet in the world, terrible hormones, and they could take every supplement under the sun, it would still be unhealthy. Supplements are to supplement the healthy body, right? So what about some of these causes? I don't want my clients going away and just going, all right, great, I've got these supplements, and then going, oh, nothing's working. What's the root causes?
Because people just want a quick fix. So it's easier just to take the supplement rather than actually change the diet. So with my clients, the first thing I do is I look at their food diary because I want to know, I have them fill a health form in as well. And I can see the connection to why they have that problem. And it always stems from the food that they're eating. And the food causes are, so you've got sugar is a feeder of inflammation, which is going to cause problems with your hormone health. You've then got your dairy, which is the worst feeder of all for hormones. And it's something I tell every female to come off if they have extreme period pain. They need to get out of the dairy. Gluten could be a feeder as well, but the first thing I will tell people to come off is dairy. That could just be one major trigger to their hormone problem, and even just by removing that, they might see a significant difference in their pain.
Yeah, it's not something I've thought about until I heard you talk about this, but it makes sense, right? I mean, we don't even want to think about what goes into our foods now. The mainstream foods we've got, they're processed, they're full of hormones. I think if you're eating a lot of high dairy foods, you're already estrogen dominant as a female, right? And then the amount of estrogen that's coming from the dairy, from the cow as well, probably extra because it's being injected with it for whatever reasons that they increase it for, whether it's shelf life or whatever. Basically, you've got a bunch of unhealthy chemicals flying around your body in large amounts. It's going to have an effect on your female dominant hormone of estrogen in anyways, right? So that could be that could be the root cause to a lot of things.
It is, because when a female has pain, you have estrogen dominance. That is the cause of your pain. So you need to find out where that estrogen dominance is coming from. In the first place, it will be dairy. So then you eliminate the dairy out of your diet, and that comes from, it could potentially be eggs as well. So eggs was something that were giving me horrific, painful periods a few years ago, and I made that connection, and I've never had eggs since, and now I don't get period pain. You have to find the cause of your pain, and it will be coming from estrogen. And changing the diet isn't easy, of course, but remove the dairy first. If that hasn't worked, try the sugar next. If that hasn't worked, then it needs to go gluten next. Those are the three that I always say. Yes, meat is a problem as well, but that is something that I would look at last, because it's not the main driver of hormone issues.
Mm-hmm. I think processed meat could be meat that's
processed
grass-fed.
Meat is different. Yeah.
I'm a big component of eating meat, and I've had a few vegans or vegetarians debate me on this, but all of the studies out there right now, all of the brand new up-to-date ones, I saw a big meta-analysis from I can't remember who did it, somewhere in America, about meat and all-cause mortality, and had no impact on mortality. So normal meat in terms of grass-fed, like organic, your regular lean cuts, fatty meat, processed meat, no good for you. Yeah. So I'm not one of these guys to say, "Oh, cut out meat," as you said, last resort. Yeah. So I don't think meat's the problem. But back on the estrogen dominance thing. So obviously pain and painful periods, that's a big sign. That's a warning sign of estrogen dominance. Mm-hmm. What other symptoms suggest estrogen dominance in the body?
As I say, it can be the painful periods. Bloating naturally is going to happen to females. We do bloat. We naturally, every single month, your stomach gets a little wider. We do gain more fat because we are producing more estrogen. So again, that's something you do have to take into account. We are going to have a few pounds of increase in our weight, and just be mindful of that again, because as soon as the period comes, you're back to your normal self again. Like I notice it, I'm like, 1 minute I'm like looking super awesome, and then the next I'm like, oh, I look awful. So yeah, you're going to naturally bloat. You may have the painful boobs. Some women as well get migraines and headaches. So that, again, that could be caused by your estrogen, the low moods, depression, anxiety. Sometimes my anxiety gets a little bit more higher around the time of the month. So maybe do a little bit more yoga and breath work, grounding in nature, get outside a bit more to calm you down, these kind of things. But the most important thing is just to focus on the foods to get out, so that you can get the estrogen from the body. And coming into that estrogen as well will come into your gut health and your liver health, because the fiber is connected to pulling out you've got good, like estrogen is an amazing thing for a female to have. It's what gives us our curves. It's what makes us sexy. It's what makes the skin glow and everything. But in excess, this is where it can lead to things like breast cancer and problems like that. But you've got to get the bad estrogen out of your body. And if you're not getting bad estrogen out of the body with your bowel movements, then that is just going to recirculate the bad estrogen all the way back into the liver, then it goes back into the gut, and then it just keeps circling around and around and around. And that's why just every single month you're recirculating this bad estrogen. So you also have to think about, how many times do I go to the toilet in a day? Am I going to the toilet every single day? You know, it is all connected in with your gut health and your bowel movements too.
Yeah, I understand that. And kind of what I'm picking up now, just off hearing the information you're getting, we can talk all day till we're blue in the face about what you can do during your monthly cycle. But I guess a lot of it's the 3 weeks before, what you're putting in your body then. Because what you're eating throughout the weeks leading up to it will have an impact on the symptoms you get the week of. Am I correct in saying that?
Yeah. So like, I've had some clients who say to me, you know, this month I've had an amazing period, like I didn't have pain or anything like that. And like females have blood clots as well every month as well when they're bleeding. And that's another one, that's estrogen dominance, and there should be no clotting of the blood. And then the next month they've been horrific with their diet. So of course they're going to have an awful period. So it is like everything's connected to what you did yesterday.
Yeah, it's almost like you're paying the price for what you ate last week, the week before. That's what's going to give you the symptoms. And again, it's very difficult when you're feeling low, when you're feeling hormonal, emotional. We know food or junk food lights up dopamine receptors in the brain, you know, releases pleasure chemicals, if you like, that make you feel good. And that's why females do it. That's why anyone turns to food, male or female, especially under these circumstances. So I'm guessing that you can have all the supplements, you can have that nailed, but I think prevention or understanding prior to the monthly cycle, I think that's where the power is. Because if you get that wrong, it doesn't matter what you take the week off, you're gonna have a bad time, right? So I'd say it's almost just as important to kind of manage and eat for health rather than just to hit calories. There has to be an element of that. If you're someone who you don't really get many symptoms, you can kind of get away with eating a little bit of junk around it. If you're someone who gets a lot of symptoms, then you're going to have to hold your hand up and accept, I'm going to have to change what I'm eating right now, because this is just me going around in circles.
Yeah, exactly. So just really think about the kind of foods that you're eating and log it.
Amazing. So what you obviously linked it to the gut health. If the gut health's off, would you say that you're in for a bad monthly cycle in terms of the way you feel, regardless of what you do? If your gut health's not right.
Yeah.
Okay.
I was just going to say that. So around the time of the month, your immune system drops around 80%. So naturally your immunity is low anyways, which means our serotonin levels, which are made 90% in the gut, 10% in the brain. Our serotonin is our happy neurotransmitter, so it's that happy hormone. It's going to drop as well. And that's why your mood drops, because your immunity has dropped. So you have to think about your serotonin levels, which comes with dark chocolate, because dark chocolate is actually high in the prebiotic fiber, which boosts serotonin. So dark chocolate, which again hits your magnesium, it boosts serotonin levels in your gut, which therefore helps increase the mood.
Amazing.
So there's that. And also with your gut bacteria, most females as well, and men too, have compromised guts because they have things like IBS, irritable bowel disease, SIBO, there's gut dysbiosis. So there's an imbalance of your gut bacteria as well. So if you have too much bad bacteria inside of the gut because you're eating all the wrong foods and you've got chronic stress and might have been on the contraceptive pill, that's another thing, then your whole gut is going to be imbalanced, and you're going to need to have things like probiotics to replenish your good bacteria back into the gut, which will then raise your immune system. It also helps with things like depression and anxiety as well, because you have to have good bacteria in your gut in order to have healthy immunity.
Yeah, I saw something there.
So probiotics.
I saw something today, actually. I screenshotted it because I wanted to talk about it. It was from a guy called Coach Jake Dolchal, I think his name is. He said, our mental health begins in our gut. So there's something called lactobacillus, which helps serotonin. And then bacillus, dopamine, and all these other things that go in a line. And like literally the chemistry of your body starts, the hormones that are, the chemicals that you produce for feeling good, start in the gut.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I work with a lot of ladies who obviously struggle with emotional eating. That's why they're here. I help them with the mindset on that. It goes hand in hand. People with very painful periods tend to be more likely to emotionally eat, but that's fueling the painful periods. And they're just on this, you've seen Facebook's new logo, the meta thing, it's just one of those, a little loop that goes along, connecting a figure of 8. That's all that's happening. You emotionally eat, you create more bad bacteria, so your next monthly cycle is even worse. And then because it's worse, you emotionally eat, you feed it, you feed it, you feed it. You're never getting out of it, basically. Yeah, so you've got to accept it starts in the good. The way I feel starts in the good.
You've got to always, well, I'm always saying this, you have to always look to your gut first, because you've also got the vagus nerve as well. That is a wandering nerve that runs from the gut up to the brain, which gets inflamed. So if you have gut inflammation, then your vagus nerve is inflamed. That inflammation is then going to travel up to the brain, and then you're going to sink into depression and anxiety and stuff like that. So you have to heal your vagus nerve. And that is, there's loads of different ways to heal the vagus nerve as well. So you can heal the vagus nerve with just breath work, simple as, you know, a few breath meditations. Singing is also one of them. So sing your heart out. You know, like, rather than being in a depressive state, and sometimes we do get like that, and it's like, just be in that moment if you need to be in that moment. And, you know, as a female as well, if you need to cry, I said this on Instagram last week, if you need to cry, just cry. It is an emotional release, and we hold on to so much emotion anyway. So we have to let it go. You've got to get it out of your body. And then, I mean, hopefully the next day you should be feeling a hell of a lot better, because you've had that cry, you get back up, you've had the cry, start again. So you've got to focus on getting out of this depressive state. So things like putting on your favorite music and singing, you know, like dancing and doing things that make you feel good, rather than just feeling sorry for yourself. Like you said, like, you have to just find ways to make yourself feel better, and it's not with food.
Yeah. So I've got a video that gets a lot of great feedback from my clients inside of my membership area. I call it the palette. You might have heard it referred to this as well. So like the artist palette, how the artist would create his masterpiece with these colors on his palette. Well, our version of that, our masterpiece is our life. Our palette is our senses. What are we looking at? What are we hearing? What are we putting in here? What environment we're surrounding ourselves with? What we're looking at on the phone? Basically, managing and manipulating your environment to only allow things that you value, things that make you feel good. I know it's very easy to sit here and say, cut out the toxic people, cut out negativity. You might not be able to do all of that all of the time, but you can manage what you watch on telly. You can manage your environment. You can wash those dishes. You can put the iron away. You can get out and walk in nature. You can stop watching reality TV that's just absolute drivel, that just erodes your brain cells because it's complete garbage. You can stop scrolling your life away on TikTok. Like, these are all things that you are allowing to come into your senses. And then because that's altering your perception, because you're literally consuming that information, it's giving you the life you've got. So one of the fastest ways, in my opinion, or the most powerful ways to deal with potential physical health, physical problems with monthly cycle and hormonal issues is manage this, manage your perception by managing your senses, the palate. Yeah, would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's again, it's all coming down to the mindset as well. You have to change things. Like, I shared about color therapy on my Facebook yesterday, because color is actually a powerful healer, and it works. Like, I'm always wearing, like, I'm wearing black right now, but I never really wear black, but I'm always like wearing bright colors, because colors actually help to boost your mood, whether people believe that or not. Like, my room is surrounded by yellows and sunsets and different, you know, all these colors that make me feel happy. So you've got to be in environments that make you feel happy, you know, like, otherwise we're never going to get out of that rut place, you know. So even if it's once a month, like, I keep saying this to myself as well, like, my body gets so tired, I need to go more for a massage, you know, like, I know I need to do these kind of things. So do more things that are relaxing, and it doesn't have to be costly, you know. It could just be anything, as I say, just going for a walk, doing things that are going to make you feel good. And also, with a lot of females, obviously they have kids as well, they need to take time out and just have time for themselves. It's really important that you take some time for you. Otherwise, you're just going to reach burnout. You can't be there for every single person.
Yeah, yeah. And I mean, I'll just touch on a point that I see a lot in my videos, but let's say the hypothetical situation that a new client signs up with me, I go through this consultation process when they start, as I'm sure you do as well. One of the questions I ask them is about values and about who are they? Like, what's your identity? What do you love to do to have fun? You know how many ladies reply, I don't even know, Sam. I just go to work, come home, and look after the kids and do the dishes, and that's the life. And I'm like, can you see now why you're really struggling?
Yeah.
Can you see now why your energy's down, your mental health's down? You're getting physical symptoms to let you know that your life's kind of not, it's not healthy, not physically, not emotionally,
Yeah.
not the boundaries you've got. Your identity's crying out for change, and maybe PMS symptoms could just be the physical manifestation of a lack of purpose or a healthy environment. Would I be out of order saying that, or is that something that you can relate to as well?
No, like every single person needs to have purpose in their life. And I know, like, from my yoga clients that I get as well, like they come to my classes, the female ones, because their lives are so incredibly stressful. You know, like they've got to go to work, they've got husbands to see to, they've got kids to see to, they've got a house to clean, blah, 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 blah. Like they've got a list of all of these things to do. Where is their time for themselves? You know, like how do they actually get to know themselves without, you know, all of that behind them? They are their own person.
Mm-hmm.
And they need to have their passions to focus on. Otherwise, they are going to feel like depressed a bit, you know, because you need to have things to focus on that make you feel good, whatever it is.
Yeah. And that goes for any time of the month, not just monthly cycle, but it's going to be 10 times harder to deal with if you're getting physical and hormonal symptoms that makes it feel worse. It's going to, you've got no leg to stand on. If you're already struggling with a stressful environment and you feel like you are lacking purpose and you don't know what your values are, how to just live on your terms, you're just doing everything for everyone else and you're overwhelmed. That's going to be times a million on your monthly cycle. So again, it keep coming back to this point. It's not necessarily what you do on your monthly cycle week. There's things with your tips and tricks you've gave them already. It's mainly sorting everything out prior to that, sorting your environment out, your energy, your purpose. You know, what things are you doing in your life that you just don't want to do? Can you delegate? Can you delete them? Can you ask for help? Can you take the pressure off yourself by just saying no? I'm seeing signs that this is having a huge, or if not more of an effect on hormonal health than anything else, because cortisol is a killer, right? Cortisol kills everything.
The biggest killer of it all. Yeah, we all have to manage cortisol. And when the cortisol and your adrenaline are like taking over your body, that means none of your hormones are working properly. That those two have just taken over everything. So your thyroid's not working, your estrogen's all over the place. No wonder you've got like mood swings and all sorts. So we've got to manage this cortisol, and it's not as easy. Like I can be a complete stress head around the time of the month because I've got such a busy life. You know, I'm writing 2 books, I've got clients to see, I've got yoga clients to see, and I'm just like, and then I'm constantly like, I have to switch my phone off now because I'm getting bombarded with like messages all the time. So I'm like, I haven't got time for me, you know, and I haven't even got kids. So just, yeah, make sure that we're focusing on this stress. And as I've mentioned, the ashwagandha is something that's going to help you manage it better. But taking that time out to really just focus on you, at least like once a month, if not once a week, go and, you know, do a yoga class or go to a meditation class or go for that walk, do something that is going to help calm you down, or a massage or something. You've got to lower the cortisol in the body.
Yeah. Yeah. For anyone who doesn't know, cortisol, by the way, it's stress hormone. Anytime you are physically, emotionally stressed, or maybe you've got an injury, you've broke your leg, cortisol is going to be flying around the body because that's the body's stress hormone. What's the science behind that again? Is it a protective measure? I guess it is, right?
Yeah, like it's just because we need to run away from that bear. You know, like it's so important that we have it. It's necessary for being alive. But it's just because, you know, we're waking up in a stressful state and it's not going away. It's there constantly all day long. So we've got to get, for healing as well, like we need to be in our parasympathetic nervous system. We have to be in that system in order to heal. And it is very rare, including myself, that we are in that. And that's why, I mean, meditation has been proven like to just increase longevity by so much, simply because it's switching on your parasympathetic nervous system.
Yeah. I'm kind of getting an idea for another training that I might deliver myself, kind of just on the practical elements of this, because there's a lot of obviously science talk right now, but I think practically there's almost like a three-pronged approach that I feel like females need to take. Number one is obviously the health, the supplementation, and the foods that you are eating in and around your monthly cycle. That's a given. That's got to be done. So the supplementation, we've advised the kind of foods, the complex carbohydrates, cutting out the dairy maybe. I think that's physically what people can be doing to manage this. Organization skills need to be on, because we know already your energy is going to be down the week of your monthly cycle. And if you are not organized, you are going to sack it off. Your trauma response to overwhelm is to quit. That's everyone's trauma response to overwhelm. Quit, run away, give up, shirk responsibility, climb a tree and run away from the monster. That's what we're going to do every time. So you've got to be organized. If you know you're a bit of a stress head, get organized. So I would say that that is just as important as the physical ways you manage your symptoms as well. Get organized prior. If you're not organized, you're basically screwed. Yeah. Then the other one, this identity, this purpose. If you are feeling like already depressed and a lack of a purpose, and you're people pleasing, you've got no way to kind of switch off and have time for yourself, that's going to be exaggerated when you're already going to have your mood dropped by the hormonal symptoms that you're unfortunately going to get anyway. So find a purpose, manage your physical health by your supplementation and the foods that you eat, and get organized. That's what I would say from what I'm hearing, and maybe the three most powerful ways to combat this, right?
Yeah. And they're going just into another supplement as well. So you all need to have omega-3 oils as another one.
Yeah, omega-3 oils, I recommend them to everyone anyway. That's responsible for your immune health, right?
It's responsible for immune health, but it's also responsible for hormone health.
Okay. I see. So I did have a few more questions that I can ask you from the guys. And we've covered supplements, we've covered foods, we've covered what to replace high sugar foods with. Guess that'll just be natural sugars, right?
Yeah, all the natural ones.
What about water retention? And another question about bloating and glands flaring up in the groin, neck, and underarms. Is that the lymphatic system?
That's all your lymphatic system. So any signs of swelling, I mean, it depends how bad the swelling is. Anything that is like really bad needs to be obviously checked out by a doctor to make sure that it's nothing serious. But your lymphatic system is all connected with your gut health and your liver health. Everything in the human body, it works in a circle. So the two things that I always focus on is your gut health and your liver health. Those are the two things that we have to get right. So if those two things are not working right, then your lymphatic system is going to be out as well. So your lymph nodes are located basically at all around the areas of the joints. And when they get blocked, it's because there's toxicity there. So you have to move your lymphatic system daily. Now, obviously, your lymphatic system doesn't have a pump. So this is why you need to exercise, of course. And things like rebounding are awesome. If you have a rebounder, that's one of the best ways for your lymphatic system to move. And also things like dry skin brushing as well. Ideally, you want to do dry skin brushing daily, but I'm not doing it, so I can't really enforce that. So yeah, you've got to move this lymphatic system. Otherwise, it becomes stagnated, and it's the stagnation that creates the problems in the lymph nodes.
So there's not really a supplement you can take, right? I guess that's kind of just healing from within over a longer period of time.
No, there's loads to take. I wrote all about it in my second book because there's quite a lot of foods to take as well. You need to have lots of cleansing foods for the liver, and you need to have basically the cleaner your gut is, the cleaner the liver is, the cleaner your lymphatic system is. So it's all connected with the foods that you put into your mouth. Everything is always connected to what you feed yourself with. So if you keep feeding yourself with the white flour, refined, processed garbage that has no color to it, basically, then you are creating stagnated blood. So your blood is thick, and dairy also causes a thick lymphatic system, which also creates things like acne. I had chronic acne as a child, so I was drinking a lot of dairy milk. So it's just this dairy product, again, comes back to dairy, full of mucus. So you don't want to have things like that. You've got to hydrate as well, because hydration, enough water, is going to clean your lymphatic system. And that's where a lot of water retention comes from. It's because we're not actually hydrated enough.
I see. I never thought of that. Yeah, it makes sense to flush out, right? If your body's depleted of natural minerals like electrolytes and things, it tends to hold on to water because it's a survival mechanism, right?
Yeah, you've got to have electrolytes.
Yeah. A lot of us live on coffees now. I know I certainly do. So that's not going to help, right? Because that'll deplete you even further.
It's worse for females because of, again, it's the cortisol. So caffeine obviously makes you feel more alert and gives you more energy and things, which means you're producing more adrenaline. So when you produce more adrenaline, you produce more cortisol, the stress hormone, which then it sends all the other hormones completely like out of whack, basically. So coffee is not your friend.
Yeah, I mean, a little bit off topic here in terms of like hormones and stuff, but just if anyone struggled with anxiety and overwhelm and the symptoms you get around that, maybe heart palpitations, you've got no business taking any caffeine. That's like, you've got anxiety, there's a fire, pour petrol on it. That's having coffee if you struggle with anxiety. One of the massive things that helped me with panic attacks, I accepted I'm not doing anything to stimulate my central nervous system and release adrenaline. I was having to have 3, 4, 5 cups of coffee a day because I was so tired because I wasn't sleeping because of the anxiety at night time. And then I was just fueling that. It took us months to get a handle on it. So anyone struggling with anxiety right now, cut the coffee out. I don't care what you say about, oh, I need this, I need that. Stop doing it. Yeah.
Yeah. Even green tea and matcha as well, like that could still, if you've got really bad anxiety, that could be a problem too, because it's still naturally got caffeine in. Like I can only have 1 green tea a day, because if I have any more than that, I'm super like hyperactive. I can't sleep at night. Like I'm really sensitive to caffeine. So just, cut it out completely.
Yeah. I mean, adrenaline is the chemical of anxiety. So if anxiety is the emotion or the feeling, the chemical causing that is adrenaline. So if you struggle with it, why would you want to promote releasing adrenaline? You need adrenaline if you're getting chased after a monster, it's going to naturally kick in. But you don't need it when you're sitting in the house watching Coronation Street on a night time. You don't need your adrenaline high. You don't need it when you're scrolling on Facebook. You don't want to create an environment that's going to make you feel more on edge, especially around your monthly cycle, right?
Yeah, just actually getting into the topic of the phone. I've had to start switching my phone off around like 9:30 every night because I wasn't sleeping. And also I found that it gives me more anxiety by being on my phone more. So I'm not on my phone much through the day anymore. I'm on it when I need to be on it for my social media and for messaging back people too. But just the whole being on the phone as well, all of that can have an impact on your anxiety levels. So just, I would really suggest reduce the amount of time you spend on like social media and things like that as well.
Absolutely. Got a couple more questions here that I haven't covered yet. We mentioned briefly the mood lifting foods, so obviously the serotonin, the dark chocolate, things that can help. Are there any other mood lifting foods, and can symptoms of mood and tiredness get worse as you get older?
Worse as you get older?
Yeah.
Is it frozen? Yeah. I would say age is only a number. I would never use age as an excuse. But like I'm 42 this year, so I'm in the process of writing a book about hormones, because I know that I am getting older now, so my hormones are naturally going to start changing. But I feel in the best health of my life since I've changed my diet and my gut health and my liver health, and I'm doing everything I can to keep my hormones in harmony. So that's what your hormones do. They sing to each other, and if they don't sing to each other, then we have a problem. So if you are looking after your hormones, there should be no reason why they get worse as you age. That's what it's learning about, like learning about the right foods to fuel your system with, taking care of your gut and your liver health, managing your stress, all of these things. And there shouldn't be a problem as we get older. So this is why, like, I'm doing what I'm doing now with all the hormone stuff, because I have a lot of clients as well with menopause and things like that too. Hot flushes as well, all of that kind of stuff. Again, it's all connected with your liver health. It's, you know, like body temperature does raise around the time of the month. Like I feel now, I'm always a cold person, but now I'm feeling a little bit warmer because I know my periods do. But some women get like extreme hot sweats. and that is connected to your liver health. So if you understand what kind of foods feed the liver, then you're going to understand how you can also support your hormones and also your gut too. So that's where, like today I mentioned about on my Instagram, how many people are drinking lemon juice. It's one thing I'll tell people they have to drink.
What about the mood lifting foods? So I mentioned the dark chocolate. Any other foods that have a serotonin boost, if you like?
Serotonin is like, that's going to come in with your fiber, because you've got to have enough fiber to feed your gut microbiome. So your soluble fiber and your insoluble fiber. So make sure you are eating enough of those two kinds of fiber to feed your gut microbiome. And then once you start feeding that good bacteria, then you're naturally helping to boost and lift the serotonin.
So could you give some examples of the soluble fiber and the insoluble fiber? What kind of foods could
So your
they
soluble
possibly...
fiber is all of the fiber that's like your oats, sweet potatoes, if you've softened them, carrots that are soft, all of the softer things, your black beans, kidney beans, chickpeas, those kind of things, red lentils. These are your soluble fiber. And then you've got your cruciferous vegetables, which are your insoluble fiber, all of your broccolis and kales and cauliflowers, those kind of things, the harder veggies. Carrots as well. Carrots can fall into the two categories because you can either have it soft or hard. So you have to just have loads of fiber as well to feed. It's all about feeding your good bacteria so that you can boost the immune system and lower the bad bacteria in the gut, because the more bad bacteria you have in your gut as well, the worse you are going to feel.
Absolutely. So guys, is there any other question? Because I'm out of questions. Anyone watching live, I can quickly look at my Facebook page as well before we let Dani go, because it's been an awesome training. Is there any other questions that you want to ask? I'll check the Facebook page as well. Just type in the box, guys. If you've got a question, fire it away. I can see Kerry. I think Kerry's actually one of your clients now, Dani.
Yeah, she is.
She said, I'm learning this now. I'm changing from just snacks to snacks that help fuel and heal my body, following Dani's advice. It's working good and I do feel much better for it. So that might not be the answer a lot of people want to hear. There we go. That might not be the answer a lot of people want to hear. I think a lot of people are expecting, like you said, they want to know, what pill can I take? What can I do to feel better? What can I do to, get rid of this? I think a lot of it comes from prevention. Just like I teach you guys for emotional eating, you can't just follow a diet and solve the problem of emotional eating. You've got to get to the root causes. Every problem you'll find in life across every area, it's always about what's the root cause, what's previously been done, what's been put into the body, what information's been downloaded, whatever it is. The way you feel physically or mentally, it's never an accident. Emotions and physical health are not spontaneous. You don't spontaneously develop health conditions. They are created in the body. Yeah. Can you say those questions? Can you?
Yeah, there was one there about the lemon water. Why lemon water? So the reason why lemon water is because one reason, it cleans the liver. So if you're cleaning the liver, you're helping your hormones filter better. So that's why you have to have a clean liver. It also cleans the gut. So if you have too much bacteria, the bad bacteria in the gut, like a lot of people have bloating and IBS problems, it's going to help with the bacteria. So it helps with the bloating issues. I drink it every time, just like while I'm cooking my dinner or my lunch. I have a couple of glasses twice a day. And then it helps to also digest the food before you're about to eat it. So there's a few reasons why, and it also encourages, it slows down aging and it's good for skin health. So it's good for acne and eczema and skin problems too. So it's just like, it's really good to cleanse your system.
Yeah, I've recently started doing it. I don't remember it every day. I'm gonna hold my hands up and admit it. I've recently started, instead of having a coffee first thing, I'll have 500 ml of water with half a lemon or a lime squeezed with a tablespoon of sea salt. And I find that I have just as much energy after that than a coffee. And I'll actually have a decaf instead.
It's really good for your energy levels. Sometimes I haven't done it with the sea salt for a while, but I used to have one lime with sea salt in it before I went to teach yoga, and just give me loads of energy, just that one little thing.
Yeah, I've heard that's the most beneficial way because you're getting your essential electrolytes, which you might be deprived of because you've been dehydrated all night. That's why you wake up with a dry mouth, you're dehydrated. The pH balance, I think that's to do with the lemon or the lime. And of course, water. We would not be here if it wasn't for water. We all came from water. So that's obviously one of the most important things. There's another question. How much water would you recommend daily? I always say it's not really a problem. I think people focus on water too much. I think enough to hydrate you and not too much that you go to the toilet every 5 minutes because you'll just be depleting yourself of electrolytes if you go to the toilet loads, right?
The thing with water is you're not necessarily going to hydrate to a cellular level unless you've got it with electrolytes. So the sea salt with it is going to be awesome. The lime as well hydrates you more than the lemon to a cellular level. Things like fulvic minerals, which I've not covered, that's another thing. But you need to have things like that in your system so that you can allow the water to get into your cells, because you might be drinking water, but you may just be peeing it out.
Yeah,
so that's what we also need to focus on is cellular level. Yeah. We don't want to just fill the bladder up. And we also don't want to wait until we're seriously dehydrated either. So the best thing is just to, like, I drink so much water. I am always on the toilet. But I love water because I'm always like, I've usually got loads of energy. And that's how I want to feel. I've hardly drank any in the last hour, but normally like I drink about 2 to 4 liters per day. But you know, that's not necessary. 2 liters up to 3 liters is a good amount of water. But it's all going to depend on the person as well. And I mean, I don't sweat. I don't have a problem with that. But if you're sweating more, of course, you need to hydrate more, especially with the electrolytes, because you're losing them. So it's all going to be more on a personal level. But ideally, go with about 2 liters per day.
Yeah, I say that people ask, questions about water. I say, well, you have to consider all your juices and whatever else you drink. There is water in that. So if you're having like 4 liters of water and on top of your teas and coffees, you're going to be on the toilet all day. Yeah, it's just not going to benefit you whatsoever. 2 liters, I think, if you filled up a 2 liter water bottle
on the toilet.
Yeah, if you filled up a 2 liter water bottle and you drank that throughout the day, and then you had maybe a protein shake or a drink of juice with your meal, or a couple of cups of tea, that's more than enough hydration, in my opinion.
Yeah, well, see, I don't consider coffees and teas as hydration. You've got to get hydration just from water.
Yeah, 2 liters plus whatever else. That's kind of what I recommend.
Yeah, I mean, you don't want to be going on the toilet all the time, so just think about that too.
You know what I used to find when I used to do like the bodybuilding competitions, and I was like 5-6% body fat, very lean, so you don't have much like skin to hold water, and you don't have much fat cells, right? And I would drink a lot because I would be starving, so that would help, but I couldn't sleep because I was waking up to go to the toilet all the time. So one thing that I found with people who drink a lot of water, I asked them a question: how's your sleep? And they're like, oh, I get up like 3 times a night. I'm like, you're disrupting your sleep cycle for a week. Don't do that. Yeah, drink enough to be hydrated, but not enough to disrupt your sleep cycle. I don't want to be getting up 3 times for a week, So there you go. That's why I always say, make sure you're not overhydrating, because you're just going to weigh it out anyway. You're not getting the benefits of it.
Just have a cut-off point as well before, like I do. I don't drink like after a certain time, because I know like, oh, I'm going to be up too much through the night for the toilet. Like, like 9 o'clock or something, don't have anything, kind of, unless like you're super thirsty, of course. But yeah, just try to avoid stuff around then.
Yeah, it's either that or invest in a bucket.
Some nappies.
Anything to protect that sleep.
Yeah, sleep is important. That's what I've been saying on my feed there this week as well. Switch your phones off earlier. That's my thing.
But one more question: monthly cycle. Should you be prioritizing for more sleep?
I don't. But I do think I know sleep is incredibly important for your immunity and for your health. It's just as important as the food that we put into our mouth as well. Like, we do need to, I'm really trying to pay attention more to my sleep as well. Going to bed ideally at the same time every night, waking up at the same time every day, ideally as well. That's how we should be, so that your body gets into a cycle of what it knows. And I mean, I wake up at sunrise, I'm tuned into it. But yeah, like just try and keep with the same sleep habits, make positive ones. Ideally, we're supposed to go to bed by 10 o'clock, but that's just not a real thing for me. So just get into that sleep pattern and continue with it.
Yeah.
Make
yeah.
sure the ideal amount of sleep is 8 hours. That's what we need. 7 to 8 hours. We don't need any more. We don't need any less.
Yeah. So just wrapping this up, think about a hypothetical situation of someone who puts their hand up and say, yeah, I really struggle with PMS symptoms, bloating, cramping. Around their monthly cycle, they're not organized. They've allowed stress to build up. They've procrastinated on things. The house is messy. The dishes aren't done. They're not organized with their life. They haven't got a food shop in, so they're eating takeaways. They're scrolling on TikTok all night. They're not getting to sleep until 1 a.m. They're surviving on coffees instead of water. They're having to get up early because they need to play catch up from all of the tasks they haven't done the previous day. That's just a recipe for absolute disaster. And then a monthly cycle is going to make that 10 times worse than what it normally was. So a lot of the questions of how to manage monthly cycle, it's not really anything to do with, well, of course it is to do with health. That's a part of it, but that's only one side of the coin, if you like. The other side is mindset, organization, acceptance. Accept that you are going to feel not very good 1, possibly 2 weeks out of the month. So it's on you as an individual. Yeah, I know people that get triggered right now, me saying this is a male, but it's on you as an individual, ladies, to accept that you're going to be challenged that week. So what do you need to do? What ducks do you need to get in a row prior? And then combined with the tips that Dani's gave us with the foods and the supplementation, I suggest all of you guys go out there and buy the supplements that she's recommended. You might have a bit of a recipe for success when it comes to managing symptoms.
Organization is the key. Like I was just finished, like I have a 7-day planner. This is an empty one, but it is like filled out. I have like 7 days of what I need to do in that week. So mine is obviously to do with work, but you could also have it like as a food guide, you know, like if you've not tried something food wise, put it on your list of, okay, maybe I should try this week. Today I'm going to have this. And then like I have top priority. This is what I have to do today. You make that your top priority so you know you are organized, whether it's wash the dishes today or whatever. Make sure you do it.
Yeah, and we've got a lot of questions about like managing tiredness and how to have more energy. Well, you can't create energy out of nothing. You've got to find it from somewhere. And one way to simply manage energy better, protect it. Protect energy by avoiding stressful situations by being organized. So we're going to recommend supplements and hydration and all this stuff to give more energy. But there's going to be a cap, the cutoff point. There's going to be a cap. There's going to be a ceiling. The rest comes from protection. So where are you emotionally draining your energy right now? Is that dishes? Is that housework? Is that just not getting a food shop in? Is that scrolling on Facebook, comparing yourself to other people? What could you possibly do to protect your energy, combined with the energy creation, or if you like, the energy, preservers that we've talked about to do with the health stuff? But mentally, can you protect it? That would be the perfect formula, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely.
Incredible.
Energy protection is so important.
Yeah, protect, not create. There's 2 ways to, manage energy. Create some by being healthy, managing your food, but protect what you've got. Don't drain it. Don't give it away. Don't give away your power. Don't let yourself get overwhelmed because you're not clear on your priorities.
Yeah, you need to refill yourself all the time. Refill yourself with love and all that positivity.
Yeah,
because we do get drained.
Yeah, like I say, it's human. Everyone's human, but especially, ladies, you have to go through this. It's kind of a natural set part of life, and it can be made very difficult, or it can be made a bit easier. I know which one I'd rather take.
Yeah,
just my opinion.
Always look on the bright side of life.
Yeah, there we go.
That's what I try and do.
Amazing.
Even when it's not so bright.
I'm going to let you go now. It's been over an hour. Some guys have already dipped out because they've probably got kids to look after and the dishes to do, as we were saying.
Yeah, exactly.
So good for going off and doing that. But really appreciate that, Dani. I'll probably turn your advice. I'll rewatch it. I'm going to turn it into like a practical train, like I mentioned, with the 3-pronged approach of things you need to have in place. I'll make sure I recommend all of the supplements to my clients that you recommended. As always, I really appreciate you being here. Before you go, do you want to tell people where they can find you, or if they want to use your services, what do you do for people?
So you can get me mainly on Instagram at Holistic Dani. That's where I'm mainly. I am on Facebook, but not so much for work. Or you can get my website, www.holisticdani111.co.uk. That is a huge big mouthful. And then, of course, I've got my 2 books out as well, which are both on Amazon, Dani Jackson, so if anyone wants them. And for all my coaching services, you can either message me on Instagram or look on my website.
Yeah, someone, just briefly before I let you go, Dani, someone mentioned me, what are your services? Because they were thinking, oh, is it fat loss, is it weight loss? It's, imagine, you know what I do for you guys, help you figure out your emotional eating triggers. Well, Dani does exactly the same thing, but it's your physical health triggers. She'll take you through a process where she'll understand the root causes, and from the information and feedback you give her, she will be able to outline, this is the problem. Just like I do for you with emotional eating, Dani can do that for your gut health, your hormone health. So if you're really struggling, there might be some information that I can't give you because that's not my area of expertise. Hire Dani, she'll help you get to the bottom of it.
Yeah, I get to the root cause of any problem with the health, and then I can assess basically just by knowing your health history what exactly is wrong, and then I can tell you what to do about it.
Fantastic, amazing stuff. Okay, really appreciate you being here, Dani, as always. I'm sure we'll hook up for a podcast or another training again in the future.
Awesome.
Guys, I'm going to let you all go. So thank you very much, people who showed up. Thank you, Dani. Have a good evening, and I'll speak to you all soon.
Thanks.
See yous.